friends, it is Carly. Welcome back to my kitchen. So it's actually not dinner time yet, it's actually morning time, but I have a really busy day today. I've got meetings, I've got phone calls, I've got my kids home and all of that stuff because it's summer break where I am. Woohoo! So I am going to be doing a slow cooker meal today. It's summertime right now, so barbecue season is in full swing, but I am going to be doing pulled barbecue pork sandwiches in my slow cooker. Actually, it's in my deluxe multi-cooker. However, I'm going to be using the slow cooker setting. This also is going to have a really delicious, refreshing slaw that you're going to put over top of it. But since it's still like about 8 hours until dinner time, I'm not gonna put together the slaw until about 45 minutes prior to when I'm gonna pull the pork out and shred it and put the barbecue sauce on it and all that kind of stuff. So I am going to throw this together super quickly so you can see how easy it is to get breakfast. Well, breakfast is another deal, but how to get dinner prepared when you could be cooking breakfast, and then by the time you get home from work, done with your meetings or all of those things, then you have your dinner ready to go. You don't have to muss and fuss with it. You just portion it out and give it to your family, and you don't have to spend all day cooking it. So it is a pulled pork. So what I have here is, I don't even remember what I bought. Oh, it's a pork butt. You can get just a pork roast. You could do a pork tenderloin. It's completely up to you. The reason I got this is because it was on sale and I'm all about that budget, yo. So I'm gonna be putting that in there in just a minute, and it's gonna just cook and simmer in its juices all day long on low. And then by the time it's ready to pull out, it's just gonna fall apart. It's gonna be amazing. You're also going to need 1 cup of chicken broth or chicken stock. This is leftover from my freezer stock that I make with all of my vegetable scraps. You're gonna need a cup of orange juice. If you have fresh oranges on hand, that's great. If not, just steal from the breakfast pitcher, right? Just some orange juice. I am also going to be using our smoky applewood rub today. One of my favorites. We've got a whole ton of stuff in our pantry section. Check it out. Smoky applewood is one of my favorites. Smoky barbecue is so amazing. Definitely try that one out. Our everything bagel seasoning, our everything but the pizza seasoning. My goodness, you just sprinkle that stuff on a shoe and it would taste amazing. Now, the other thing that you're gonna need right out of the gate is gonna be an onion and some garlic. I have 3 cloves of garlic. You could do 1, you could do 2, you could do 3. I wouldn't recommend going over 5, but you know what? If that suits your fancy, then go for it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is just break down my onion. Of course, you're going to save your onion skins and onion scraps for your stock bag. I showed you my stock bag in an earlier video, and it's not pretty at all, but you know what? It's free. It's free flavor. You already paid for the produce. You might as well use every little bit of it and thank it for giving its vegetable life, for giving you sustenance. So use every part of it. And plus, it saves you money. Then you don't have to go to the store and find chicken stock or whatever. So save that. Now, instead of using my garlic peeler, here's a little tip. If you have your knife, I'm using my utility knife today. You just put this down on your cutting board and slam it a couple of times. It kind of crushes the garlic, and then it's a little easier to peel. You just pop that off, and these skins right into your stock bag. So I'm gonna do 3 cloves of garlic today, just because for some reason that's what the voices in my head told me to do. I think the recipe itself, which by the way, the recipes that I do on my channel, or a lot of them, are available on my webpage, which is Carly's Cooking Corner. If you go to the Pampered Chef webpage, there are thousands, literally thousands of recipes for you to choose from. So all I'm gonna do with this is just use my food chopper, which is one of my absolute staples in the kitchen. If you don't have a food chopper, well, what are you doing with your life, okay? Our food chopper is one of the finest out there. It's got so many great features. It's so easy to clean so that you don't have food stuck up in the top and all of that. So this is as easy as it is. Now I'm going to show you the pieces. This is the clear collar that goes over it so your food doesn't go flying all over your kitchen, look like a rave, right? This is the blade guard, pops right off. These little things pop open. You can actually pull them right off if you would like to, but you can put this in the top of your dishwasher. All of the pieces go right in the top of the dishwasher, and they are clean as a whistle without you having to do extra work. Now I'm gonna come over to my deluxe multi-cooker. I'm gonna pop the top off here. One of my absolute favorite things to cook with, if you've seen some of my videos lately, I've really been featuring this a lot. It is amazing. It has so many different settings. It's got sous vide, it's got the pressure cooker setting, it's got the slow cooker setting, which is exactly what I'm going to be using it for today. It's got the, oh my goodness, yogurt setting. There's actually a setting on here to make your own yogurt. So if you love yogurt, rock this thing, because you'll save so much time and money running to the store all the time to get your yogurt. It has a sanitizing setting. It's a rice cooker. It's a whole grain cooker. It does desserts, breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch, all of the things. So check this out in our catalog. It takes the place of so many different products that are just lingering in your kitchen, those one-use products that you just don't have time for. It's just, they take up room and space and clutter everything up. Get yourself a multi-cooker. You'll thank me for it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw everything. Now this is my onion and my 3 or however many cloves of garlic. Suits your fancy for that particular moment, and put that right in there. Now I am going to, and of course I set my onion scraps aside because I don't have my bag of scraps available, but I will do that in a moment. So you can leave whatever cut of pork you have just in its state as it is. If you have a fatty side, put the fatty side up. The reason for that is that fat will go down and baste the meat as it cooks. If you put, the fleshy side up, it's just not gonna baste itself. So I'm gonna put this down in here with the fatty side up. Fabulous. Now, I'm going to put in 1 cup of my chicken stock. I'm going to put in, it's about 3/4 of a cup of the orange juice. And now I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of my seasoning. This is the smoky applewood. Now, if you don't have a measuring spoon at hand, one of these is just about 1 tablespoon. So you can just kind of sprinkle that right in there. By the way, I need to sanitize this. I don't know if you noticed that. Pop quiz, what did I do? I touched something that has pork death on it. So don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Now, I'm gonna put this on top here. Of course, they do it backwards, and then I can't figure it out. Like if I was standing in front of it, it would be fine. There we go. Hear it singing me a song. So I'm gonna close that up. Now, what I'm going to do, just so I can get rid of this yuppie nonsense, is I am going to come up here and I'm going to look for the slow cook setting, which happens to be all the way over there. So I'm gonna go on that. Now it's telling me I can choose high or low. It's telling me right now it's on the low setting for 6 hours. Well, I actually don't want it 6 hours. I want it to be 8 hours. So I'm going to go for low, and I'm going to move this until it gets to 8 hours. Oops, I overdid it. Now, it says 8 hours on low. There is a keep warm setting that is automatic. So if this is cooked and you get stuck in traffic, or your appointment runs late or your meeting runs over, don't worry, your food is going to stay hot and at a safe temperature. So I'm gonna push this, start it up. I take those 3 beeps as like, girl, I got you. I'm gonna take it from here. You go do your meetings, you go do your thing, and I'm just gonna be here for you. So that's it. I am gonna let this sit and cook for 8 hours, or just about 8 hours. I will come back here maybe an hour-ish before that is ready, and I'm gonna put together my slaw that's gonna go over the top. It is, it's so good. It's crispy, it's light. Of course, it's got cabbage in it because it's a slaw, but it also has a secret ingredient, pineapple. So good. So stick with me. I'm gonna let this thing cook. I'm gonna go about my day, and I'll see you back here this evening. Hey friends, I'm back. So this has been cooking for, I don't even know, like 7.5 hours or 7-ish hours. And it's starting to smell absolutely fabulous. Just so that you know, the slow cooker, if you use the deluxe multi-cooker, the slow cooker setting will continually vent the top so that it doesn't pressurize. There is like a little beep that comes during the venting process, just so that, you know, it gives you a fair warning that, like, don't put your hands over that. You can turn off the beeping by simply pressing and holding the center of the power button up here on the front. So if that beeping drives you crazy, like it drives me crazy, some people like it because they feel like, oh, listen, you know, it's cooking, it's doing it for me. I'm like, dude, I don't need one more thing beeping at me and trying to take up my time. So this is continuing to cook. It's maybe an hour-ish out before I am ready to serve it. So now is the time to start my slaw. The slaw is actually, you can serve it on this side, but it's meant to be kind of put on top of the pulled pork sandwich, just to kind of give it kind of a creaminess and a little bit of a tangy edge, and it has pineapple in it, which is absolutely outstanding. It makes it really bright, really summery, a little bit tropical. So this is what we're going to do. All I have here is just some coleslaw mix. You can get any coleslaw mix that you would like. I'm doing a cabbage-based one. I know there are several out there that are like broccoli-based and, you know, that kind of thing. I recommend the cabbage one just because it's a little bit lighter, but if you want to do the broccoli one, go for it. This is 3/4 of a cup of just straight up mayonnaise, and put that in there. Here is our pineapple. You're gonna want maybe around a cup of pineapple. I'm actually using crushed pineapple, but if you want to do like the pineapple chunks or the tidbits, you want them to be small enough that they kind of melt into the entire thing. So I would recommend cutting them down in size a little bit, especially if you have the larger chunks. This is apple cider vinegar, and this is going to give it that kind of vinegary acidity that we love in a nice bite of a slaw. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of that. Don't do a tablespoon. That might be a little much. So a teaspoon of that. Now I'm going to reset this to a 1/2 teaspoon, and I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now, of course, you can modify this if if you're watching your salt. Leave the salt out. It should be plenty tangy, simply from the pineapple and from that apple cider vinegar. Now, I'm just going to take my chef's tongs and kind of give this a little bit of a toss. As you are doing this, give it a little bit of a taste if it needs a little bit more vinegar because it's a little dull. If you need more salt or if you need more pepper, it's completely up to your taste. Now, if you are doing this and it seems a little dry, don't worry about it, because as this sits, that creamy sauce is going to it's going to continue to get saucier and creamier. So one of the problems that I have with doing different slaws is that I overdress it before I realize how much dressing is on it. And then all of a sudden I have like a watery slaw and I'm like, well, that's no fun. So I am going to put the top on my batter bowl and just put this into the refrigerator to set up while I am finishing cooking this. So I will see you back here in maybe an hour-ish so we can get the rest of our pulled barbecue pork ready for our sandwiches. Stay tuned. I am back and it is time for dinner. Well, almost. We've got one step left in our process to put together our barbecue pulled pork sandwiches. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Just press the X. This is not pressurized. This has been on the slow cooker setting for the entire day, and it is time to release all of that deliciousness. Oh my God, did you see the plume of awesomeness? So I am just going to pop that here. We've got our beautiful pork butt roast right in here, and all I'm going to do is bring it out and I'm going to put it on a platter. This is a bone-in pork butt roast, so I will have to kind of claw through and get that bone out. If you have a roast that has fat on it, like mine does, you're gonna wanna remove that fat layer. Just because you don't want to shred it up and have like a gigantic fat layer while you're eating through. A little bit of the fat and the marbling throughout the entire thing is completely fine. So all I'm going to do now is just shred this with my 2 forks. We also have a shredder that I don't have right now called the Quick Shred. So I'm just gonna start picking this apart, pull the bone out of it, and then I will go on to my next step. So stay with me. All right, that's looking pretty good. So all I've done is just shredded up the pork and it's looking fabulous. Now, here's a little tip. There's all that beautiful juice down there in our slow cooker. Just take a little squirt and just kind of moisten the meat with that. That is, of course, flavored with our onion. It's flavored with our garlic. And of course, all of that fat, that beautiful fat that drizzled off of our meat while we were cooking it. You don't have to put too much on there because we're also going to be adding a barbecue sauce to this. So you don't want it to be like wet, you know, to put on your sandwich, but that extra flavor of that orange juice and the chicken stock will just moisten the meat nicely when we add our sauce. So the last thing we're gonna do here is just add whatever barbecue sauce you want. The recipe calls for about a cup, but it kind of depends on the size of the pork that you get and the style of the meat and all of that. And it also depends on whether you like a really saucy barbecue pork sandwich. If you like it really saucy, you could go as crazy as you want with the barbecue sauce. Unload that thing, completely empty it. If you like it a little bit, you know, not as saucy, then just eyeball it and make sure that you have whatever your little heart desires. Now, my little heart desires a little bit more of my barbecue sauce, so I am putting more barbecue sauce on this. Now, while I've been cooking this, just at the last few minutes here, I got my brioche buns, which is how I'm going to be serving these. Now, what I've done, if you want to get real schmancy and fancy and impress your friends at parties and stuff, take your brioche buns and melt a little bit of butter with pressed garlic, maybe 30 seconds in the microwave. You use your chef's basting brush and brush some of that melted butter and garlic right on your brioche buns. Put them under the broiler anywhere from 3 to 4 minutes. Keep an eye on them because they go really, really quickly and you don't want them to burn or scorch because it'll wreck the whole vibe. So this is looking lovely. This is how we're gonna put them together. I have my toasted buns over here. You can kind of see it back from there. Aren't they lovely? Don't they look fabulous? Make sure I've got a bottom and a top. So I'm going to take my one-handed, I'm not very useful here. I'm gonna take my pork and just put it right on here. You can make it as messy or as clean as you want, depending, you know, on how much you want on your sandwich. And then I am going to take my pineapple slaw and just kind of pile that right on top. Isn't that beautiful? It's gonna add that crunch and that richness. And then this is what it looks like. Here, let me bring it up for you. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. You've got that gooey, barbecue-y pork sandwich down below. You've got that crisp slaw on the top. Beautifully toasted bun with garlic, which adds a little extra flavor as well. So just feast your eyes. I cannot wait, speaking of feast, to have dinner. So this is This recipe is available on my webpage. Just go to pamperedchef.com, look up my name, Carly Van Dyke, or Carly's Cooking Corner. That's me. And you can get any recipe you want. Just go to the inspiration tab and scroll down to what to cook. There are thousands of recipes, this one included, right on my webpage. Check it out. They're free. You don't have to buy anything. Just get some kitchen inspiration. And while you're there, and while you're here on YouTube, please give me a like, a thumbs up, and a subscribe, and definitely share this with your friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.